Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to be talking to you all today about something that has truly changed my life, taking control of my finances. Now, I know what you might be thinking, talking about money? Ugh, boring. But trust me on this one. Learning about finances, building good money habits, and becoming financially literate can be incredibly empowering, especially if you start early. It's like setting yourself up for a lifetime of financial freedom and success. And the best part? It's never too late to start. Whether you're in your early 20s just starting out, or you're a little older and looking to get your finances in order, this video is for you. We're going back to basics, building a strong financial foundation, and creating a plan that will set you up for a brighter financial future. Think of it like building a house. You need a solid foundation to build upon. Otherwise, everything could crumble. So, what are the key ingredients for a solid financial foundation? Budgeting, saving, and building an emergency fund. These are the fundamental steps everyone should take, regardless of their current financial situation. They are the building blocks that will allow you to achieve your financial goals. First on our list is the emergency fund, your safety net for unexpected life events. We'll dive deep into what an emergency fund is, how much you should aim to save, and the best place to stash your cash. Next up is budgeting, a word that often evokes feelings of dread and restriction. But don't worry, we're going to change that. We'll create a personalized budget that aligns with your values, lifestyle, and financial goals. It's all about making informed decisions about your money and having a clear roadmap for where you want to go. So, are you ready to transform your relationship with money and build a brighter financial future? Let's get started. Let's begin with the concept of an emergency fund. What exactly is it? Simply put, it's money you set aside specifically for unexpected expenses, those just-in-case moments life throws your way. Think of it as your financial safety net. It's there to catch you if something unexpected happens. Your car breaks down, you have an unexpected medical bill, or you experience a sudden job loss. Having an emergency fund gives you peace of mind knowing that you can handle these situations without derailing your finances or going into debt. Now, you might be wondering, how much should I aim to save in my emergency fund? While the exact amount varies based on individual circumstances, the general rule of thumb is to have 3 to 6 months' worth of living expenses saved up. Let's break that down. Living expenses refer to your essential costs: rent or mortgage payments, utilities, groceries, transportation, debt payments, and any other expenses you absolutely need to cover each month. The number of months you choose to save depends on factors like your job security, lifestyle, and personal risk tolerance. For instance, if you have a stable job with a consistent income, you might feel comfortable with a 3-month emergency fund. However, if you're self-employed, a freelancer, or your income fluctuates, having a larger emergency fund of 6 months or even more can provide greater peace of mind, knowing you have a larger buffer to cover your expenses during periods of income uncertainty. Your lifestyle also plays a role. If you have a family or dependents who rely on your income, you'll likely want a larger emergency fund to ensure their needs are met, even if you experience a financial disruption. Finally, consider your personal comfort level with risk. If you're generally someone who experiences anxiety around money or the unknown, having a larger emergency fund can provide emotional security, knowing you have a financial cushion to fall back on. Personally, I opted to save 6 months' worth of expenses because my income was variable and I wanted that extra security. Knowing I had that buffer significantly reduced my financial anxiety and allowed me to make clearer, more rational financial decisions. Now that we've covered how much to save, let's discuss where to keep your emergency fund. While it might be tempting to stash it under your mattress, there's a much better option: a high-yield savings account. Unlike your regular checking account, a high-yield savings account earns you interest on your deposits, allowing your money to grow passively over time. The interest rates are typically higher than traditional savings accounts, making them ideal for holding money you want to keep safe and accessible, but also want to earn a little something extra. The best part about high-yield savings accounts is that they offer liquidity and security. You can easily access your funds when needed, usually within 1 to 2 business days, making them ideal for emergencies. Plus, they are FDIC insured, up to certain limits, providing peace of mind knowing that your money is safe and protected. When choosing a high-yield savings account, do your research and compare interest rates and fees from different banks and financial institutions. Opt for an account with no monthly fees or minimum balance requirements to maximize your returns. Remember, even a small difference in interest rates can add up over time, so it's worth shopping around for the best deal. We've talked about what an emergency fund is, how much to save, and where to keep it. Now let's figure out how to actually reach your emergency fund goal. The key is creating a solid budget, a plan for your money. I know, the word budget often sends shivers down people's spines. It evokes feelings of restriction, deprivation, and endless spreadsheets. But I'm here to tell you that budgeting doesn't have to be a dreadful experience. In fact, it can be quite empowering. Think of your budget as your financial roadmap. It helps you track your income and expenses, identify areas where you can potentially reduce spending, and allocate your money towards your financial goals. It's about making conscious decisions about your finances and aligning your spending with your values. Before we dive into creating your personalized budget, we need to take a good hard look at your current spending habits. Remember Marie Kondo and her method for decluttering? We're going to apply a similar approach to your finances. It's time for a financial audit. Don't worry, it's not as intimidating as it sounds. It's simply about gathering all the information about your spending so we can create a clear picture of where your money is going. The first step is to gather your financial statements. Bank statements, credit card bills, and any other records that show your income and expenses for the past 1 to 3 months. The more data you have, the more accurate your analysis will be. Once you have all your statements, it's time to create spending categories. Think of these categories as buckets where you allocate your money each month. Some common categories include housing, transportation, food, utilities, debt payments, entertainment, and personal care. To make this process easier, let's divide these categories into 3 zones: the red zone, the yellow zone, and the green zone. This system will help you prioritize your spending and identify areas where you can potentially cut back. The red zone includes your essential, non-negotiable expenses, those bills you absolutely must pay each month. Think rent or mortgage payments, utilities, groceries, transportation costs, insurance premiums, and any debt payments you might have. These are the expenses you need to cover for basic survival and to avoid late fees or penalties. The yellow zone includes essential expenses that have some flexibility. Think groceries, transportation costs, clothing, and utilities. While you need to allocate money for these categories, you have some leeway to adjust your spending each month based on your needs and goals. The green zone, my personal favorite, is dedicated to your wants or discretionary spending. This is where you categorize expenses like dining out, entertainment, travel, hobbies, personal care, and shopping. These expenses are important for your overall well-being and enjoyment of life, but they are also the areas where you have the most flexibility to adjust your spending. Now, here's where the magic happens. Once you have your categories set, go through your statements and allocate each expense to the corresponding category. For example, if you see a $100 restaurant charge on your credit card statement, categorize that under dining out in the green zone. If you paid $50 for a haircut, categorize that under personal care in the green zone. As you go through your statements, take note of any recurring subscriptions or memberships you might have forgotten about. These can be sneaky budget drainers, so it's a good idea to review them regularly and cancel any you no longer use or need. After categorizing all your expenses, calculate the total amount spent in each category for the past 3 months. This will give you a clear picture of where your money is going and highlight any areas where you might be overspending. Don't be surprised if you discover some spending patterns you weren't aware of. Understanding your income is just as important as tracking your expenses. After all, your income determines how much you have available to allocate toward your expenses and savings goals. If you have a stable job with a consistent paycheck, determining your income is relatively straightforward. Simply look at your pay stubs or bank statements to see your net income after taxes and deductions. However, if you're self-employed, a freelancer, or your income varies each month, you'll need to calculate your average monthly income. Gather your income records for the past 12 months and add up your total income for the year. Divide that number by 12 to get your average monthly income. Now here's a pro tip. When creating your budget, I recommend using your lowest earning month from the past year as a baseline. This approach ensures you're budgeting conservatively and not overspending based on months with unusually high income. It provides a safety net and prevents you from coming up short in months when your income might be lower. Remember, when it comes to budgeting, knowledge is power. Understanding your income streams and spending patterns is crucial for making informed decisions about your money and reaching your financial goals. With a clear understanding of your spending habits and income, we can now determine your income-to-expense ratio and figure out how much money you have available to save and allocate towards your financial goals. This ratio is a key indicator of your overall financial health and reveals whether you're living within or beyond your means. To calculate your income-to-expense ratio, divide your total monthly expenses, which you calculated during your financial audit, by your total monthly income. For example, if your total monthly expenses are $2,500 and your total monthly income is $3,000, your income-to-expense ratio would be 0.83. An ideal income-to-expense ratio is less than 1, meaning you're earning more than you're spending each month. This positive cash flow allows you to save for your goals and build a secure financial future. If your ratio is higher than 1, it means you're spending more than you earn each month, which can lead to debt and financial stress. In this case, we'll need to look for areas to reduce spending or explore ways to increase your income. Now that we know how to calculate your income-to-expense ratio, let's talk about how to use this information to create a budget that works for you. Remember the spending categories we discussed earlier, the red zone, yellow zone, and green zone? This is where they come into play. When creating your budget, prioritize your spending by focusing first on your red zone expenses. These are your non-negotiable essentials, the bills you must pay each month. Ensure you allocate enough funds to cover these expenses in full and on time. Next, move on to your yellow zone expenses. These essential expenses have some flexibility, so look for potential areas to reduce spending without sacrificing your needs. For example, can you try a more affordable grocery store? Explore carpooling options to reduce transportation costs, or find ways to lower your utility bills. Small changes in these areas can make a big difference over time. Finally, we arrive at the green zone, your discretionary spending. While these expenses contribute to your enjoyment of life, they also offer the most significant opportunities to adjust your spending and free up more money for savings. Take a close look at your green zone expenses and ask yourself which ones are most important to you. Are you willing to reduce your dining out budget to reach your savings goals faster? Can you temporarily cut back on travel or entertainment expenses while you build your emergency fund? Remember, creating a budget isn't about depriving yourself. It's about making conscious choices that align with your financial goals and values. It's about finding a balance between enjoying life today and planning for a secure future. Now, let's explore different budgeting methods. The first is the straightforward 50-30-20 rule. With this method, you allocate 50% of your net income towards needs, 30% towards wants, and 20% towards savings and debt repayment. The 50% allocated towards needs covers your essential expenses, those falling under the red and yellow zones. The 30% for wants includes your discretionary expenses in the green zone, dining out, entertainment, travel, hobbies. And the remaining 20% is dedicated to savings, which includes building your emergency fund, investing, and paying down any debt you might have. The 50-30-20 rule is an excellent starting point, especially if you're new to budgeting. It's simple to understand and implement, and it provides a framework for allocating your income across different areas of your life. The second budgeting method involves a more personalized approach where you analyze each expense category and set spending limits based on your past spending habits and financial goals. Using the information gathered during your financial audit, review your spending for each category over the past 3 months. Look for patterns, potential areas for reduction, and identify your spending priorities. For example, let's say you've been spending an average of $500 per month on groceries. If your goal is to reduce your overall spending, you might set a budget of $400 for groceries next month, aiming to save $100 in that category. Similarly, if you discover you've been spending $200 per month on dining out, you might decide to reduce that to $100 per month, redirecting the extra $100 towards your savings goal. This method allows for greater customization and aligns your budget with your unique spending habits and priorities. The third budgeting method involves prioritizing your savings goals. With this approach, you first determine how much you want to save each month and then build your budget around that savings goal. For example, if your goal is to save $500 per month for your emergency fund, you would first deduct that amount from your income and then allocate the remaining funds towards your various expense categories. This method ensures that you prioritize your savings goals and make saving a non-negotiable part of your budget. It requires discipline and commitment, but it's an effective way to reach your financial goals faster. Now, I want to share the method I chose and how it helped me achieve my savings goal. I was determined to save $15,000 in 1 year. To do this, I opted for the third budgeting method, prioritizing my savings goal and building my budget around it. I calculated that I would need to save $1,250 per month to reach my target. I automatically transferred that amount to my high-yield savings account at the beginning of each month, making it a non-negotiable expense. I then created a detailed budget for my remaining income, allocating funds for my essential expenses, red and yellow zones, and setting limits for my discretionary spending, green zone. This approach required me to be more mindful of my spending habits, but it allowed me to achieve my savings goal within my desired time frame. Whichever budgeting method you choose, the key is to find one that you can stick with consistently. Remember, budgeting is a journey, not a destination. It's about making conscious choices about your money and adjusting your spending habits over time to achieve your financial goals. Now, let's circle back to our emergency fund and establish a clear plan for reaching your savings goal. Based on our previous calculations, let's say you've determined that you need to save $4,500 for your emergency fund. The next step is to set a realistic time frame for achieving this goal. Consider factors like your income, expenses, and how much you can comfortably save each month without feeling deprived. If you can consistently save $500 per month, it will take you 9 months to reach your $4,500 goal. However, if you can only afford to save $250 per month, it will take you 18 months to reach your goal. Be realistic about your timeline, and don't be afraid to adjust it as needed based on your circumstances. One strategy I found incredibly helpful was creating a visual representation of my progress. I drew a simple bar chart in my journal, with each bar representing $500. As I made progress toward my savings goal, I would color in the bars. This visual reminder kept me motivated and helped me stay focused on my goal. Another tip is to automate your savings. Set up automatic transfers from your checking account to your high-yield savings account each month. This set-it-and-forget-it approach makes saving effortless and ensures you're consistently working towards your goal. Remember, building an emergency fund is a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time, discipline, and consistency. But the peace of mind and financial security it provides are well worth the effort. As I embarked on my own financial journey and started budgeting and saving, I experienced a profound shift, not only in my financial situation, but also in my mindset. Building my emergency fund provided a sense of security and eased my financial anxieties. Knowing I had a safety net gave me the confidence to take calculated risks and explore new opportunities. The process of budgeting also transformed my relationship with money. I went from avoiding my finances to actively managing them. I became more conscious of my spending habits and started making intentional choices that aligned with my values and goals. This newfound financial awareness led me to develop a more abundant mindset. Instead of focusing on what I lacked, I started appreciating what I had and began to see money as a tool to create the life I wanted. I became more open to learning about personal finance, investing, and wealth building, further empowering myself to make informed financial decisions. The journey wasn't always easy, but the rewards were immeasurable. Building a solid financial foundation takes time, effort, and consistency, but the payoff is well worth it. By implementing these strategies, you'll be well on your way to transforming your finances and creating a brighter future for yourself. As promised, I've created a free, simple budget template in Notion to help you get started. This template will help you track your income, expenses, and savings in one central location. When you open the template, you'll see several sections: money goals, paycheck routine, starting balance, income, savings, expenses, and yearly balance. Start by entering your financial goals. Since our focus is building your emergency fund, enter your target amount in the emergency fund section. Next, input your paycheck routine, indicating how frequently you get paid. This information helps you plan your expenses and savings contributions effectively. The starting balance section is where you input your current total savings across all accounts. This serves as a benchmark to track your progress over time. The income table is where you track all your income sources. Enter each source separately, specifying the month and the amount received. The template will automatically calculate your total income for the year and provide monthly breakdowns. The savings table functions similarly to the income table. Enter each savings contribution, specifying the month, the amount saved, and the goal you're saving for. In this case, it's your emergency fund. The template will calculate your total savings for the year and provide monthly breakdowns, allowing you to track your progress towards your goal. The expenses table is where you categorize and track all your expenses. Use the pre-populated categories as a starting point, and feel free to customize them based on your needs. Input your expenses for each category, specifying the month and the amount spent. The template will automatically calculate your total expenses for each category, providing valuable insights into your spending patterns. Finally, the yearly balance table provides a comprehensive overview of your income, savings, and expenses for the year. It automatically calculates your total income, savings, and expenses, giving you a clear picture of your overall financial health. Remember, this template is a starting point. Feel free to customize it based on your preferences and needs. Experiment with different budgeting methods, track your progress, and make adjustments along the way. That's it for today's video. I hope you found it helpful and feel empowered to take control of your finances. Remember, building a solid financial foundation is an ongoing journey, not a one-time event. Be patient with yourself, celebrate your progress, and never stop learning. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content about personal finance, budgeting, saving, and investing, be sure to let me know in the comments below. I'm here to support you on your financial journey and provide you with the tools and knowledge to achieve your goals. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.